betting on Bhaskar Butt, you would have got $400 in 2019. Now much more. Yeah.
I reported to Bhaskar Butt for a while. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
For a startup or an SME, which is more like the crowd here, the revenues are the focus, and you've been advocating that wherever there is money, go grab it. Revenues are the focus.
Yeah, and closer to the customer. If you've got this auto OEMs, stay away from them. Unless you have power balance. Means you have to have IP, and that product cannot be replaced by somebody else. Otherwise, they're going to weigh the product and then ask for price reduction year on year. Sorry, if there is any auto OEM, please don't mistake me. OEMs. He's not OEM, he's tier 1. His problem is his car, but he's got retail, which is a difference. So he's got B2C.
Yeah, I've got B2C, yes, true that. But I have to get you to talk to my promoters at some point in time, if you haven't already done that.
I've spent 5 years with Wheels India in the board, so therefore, yeah.
And it's not worked. Huh? I have to look for a job now. So, continuing on the question, for revenues are the prime focus, but what happens is process maturity and stabilization within the organization takes few years. And with more people joining in, that it takes time and to settle down. When does an entrepreneur shift from just revenue focus to revenue focus plus process orientation and so on and so forth?
I think it's the same. Initially you're focused on an objective, a growth, building up thing. There's a lot of mess during that process. Sometime in the 4th, 5th, 6th year, you have to bring in processes and systems. But I would still think, allow a little bit of chaos. Don't try to regiment this process, because this process has this way of tying us down. So even now, I think you need a little bit of what I would call as organized chaos in organizations, and you will have to learn to live with that. So after 20 years, I'm finding that it's important, if everything is systematic in process, you slow down the decision making. But you have to figure this out. I would say that, but get the IT and IT piece right early on. Because a lot of that, today, a lot of what we talk as processes can be IT enabled very easily. Get that IT piece early on, whatever be the size of the organization, and that brings it process maturity very quickly. After that, the people and other things can take place. So, yeah.
There goes my next question.
But what I'm saying is, there is a lot of fetish on this process. We had that quality movement, we had the world-class manufacturing movement. I really want us entrepreneurs should be focused on customers and market and revenue generation, and how do I build quickly the factories, how do I do that quickly, how do I add people, how do I not mess with their lives. That is the kind of things that I want entrepreneurs to think. Okay, and this is and then there is how do I allow risk tolerance. So therefore, I didn't have a 5S in the company for 3 years, because we're just having a big challenge of everything. Any of those change managements take a lot of time. So I would say that if you get your revenue right, you get some of the IT systems right, then you can easily fold in all of this process optimization and improvement easily.
Since my next question was answered in the form of importance of digitalization. In fact, you spoke quite a bit about it. I'll skip that. Now, you spoke right at the start, you said you finished an exercise planning 2030.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a problem at hand that I'm dealing with. I don't even know how to estimate next 2 years, which is done in your case.
True.
As in, you believe we are here, 22 is here, 23 is here. How do you actually think that far? What are the trigger points that we look for?
So no, I think I don't know what Bill Gates said, that we often overestimate what we can do in the short time and underestimate what we can do in the long term. See, it's very clear that India will grow between 6 and 8%. I don't think 6% is disappointing. 8% will be good. That means doubling. Okay? And there will be some disruptions, but broadly doubling in say 9 years. 8% is doubling in 9 years. That means many of our categories will do 4 times. Okay, there'll be 4 times the number of homes built, 4 times the number of cars bought, 4 times. All of that is going to happen. It's just a question of time. Maybe it'll not happen in 9 years, it may happen in 12 years. So I think if you really set, depending upon your size and market share, if your market share is modest, I think you can do a 4x. If your market share is quite high, as in our case, a 3x would be a thing. Then you fold back, and what do I have to do very differently? Because when you do that numbers, then you have this daunting arithmetic of every year I have to invest 1,000 crores. That means every year I have to figure out how do I do that. I have to have an incremental capital output ratio. So all of those will start flowing in. So I think if you look at even your own company, if you see the last 10 years, I'm sure that the results will be very similar. So I would say that don't worry about really, for India, I think that aspirational goal of 4x for a large category would be there. 2x means you are a government of India. 3x means you are large, slow companies like us. 4x means you are you guys. Okay. That's...
I have 2 more questions before we move to, this is the easy part, right? You play with your left hand in this, so I'll come to the right hand business in a little while. One organization, 4 decades. How do you keep yourself motivated? Where do you draw your inspiration?
I've this kind of role modeling and inspirational questions is there. I have a different take on that. I really think that, like for instance, I don't think Steve Jobs or Elon Musk or Indra Nooyi can be a role model for me. I'll tell you why. Because they are outliers. They are so different. Indra Nooyi she reads 300 pages a day. It'll take me, 2 weeks to read that. She sleeps for 3 hours. I need 3 hours every, 10 hours. So, so we can't compare. Elon Musk is different. We dealt with Elon Musk because we supply to Tesla. We are about 60% market share in Tesla's windshields and side lights and other thing. During that period, he was working we used to have a meeting. There used to be a glass room right in the middle of the factory. He was sleeping there, living there, and he was working for 20 hours for months, getting the production out. Simple. 20 hours, because he knew that if he didn't get that right, the vultures are going to be after them. So Elon Musk is not going to, I'll get obviously inspired by him one of these days, but he's not going to be my role model. I think the role models are around us. I think there is a lot that we can pick up from people whom we work with, my colleagues. Some of them are very disciplined and systematic. I take advantage of that. So therefore, for me, the inspiration is not these iconic leaders who are so vastly different from us. You can't be inspired, in science you can't be inspired by Einstein. Or Ramanujan or something like that in maths. They are different. I don't know who makes them, and is it chance or whatever it is. But they are different. So we are some nice people. We need some people who are like us, who are slightly ahead of the curve. Can I pick something from that? That's what I would say is for me. I think I keep telling the guys, don't look for these iconic people. Be inspired by them. But Steve Jobs is different. I mean, there's nothing much. I've read that book 5 times, that I don't know one thing that I can do that he was doing, right? So I think we have to look for inspiration around us. For me, my inspiration is partly at home. My wife, I think she is extraordinarily disciplined, and she ran a large group in TCS. So I think she's extremely systematic, focused. So therefore, can I pick some of that part of it which supplements my lack of skills in some of those areas? So you will find my son is hugely inspiration for me, because he's really focused on solving some, complex problems in urban issues, health, water, sanitation and stuff like that. And he's saying that I'm going to invest all my time. I don't need... So But for me, he's an inspiration in that space, because if he's willing to invest that kind of thing at 30, then I suppose I should be able to do something more than that at my age. So therefore, that's my take on this inspiration. So there are people who walk around us who inspire us every day. Can we identify them? Yeah.
So how do you, you spoke about people around.
Yeah.
He's normally soft, but you need to. You have two mics, Madhav.
I've always said I'm a soft-spoken person, but my team does not believe that at workplace. Right, so Mike stopped working, not me. What has been your experience in overcoming the challenges of bringing in alignment within competing forces within an organization?
Correct, yeah.
Goal
that
alignment is one part, and this is another part. How do you? I mean, these are two parts to the
In
same
fact,
question.
I'm right now having a complex task, because I have this, I have India, which is doing fantastically well. I mean, this year we would have a 28% return on investment, which we didn't believe that we have had a unbelievably good year and stuff like that. We have China, where we are doing well. So I think, how do I get all of these people on some kind of a common platform to get them to learn from each other and things like that? Because everybody thinks they're God's gift to mankind, and they know everything and no one has to learn. So the simple thing that I do is an N-1, N-2 exchange. I think we underestimate the power of getting people on a common platform